Robbie Williams Rewind.
Welcome to Robbie Williams Rewind. We are the champions. I'm Matt.
And I'm Lucy.
And along with help from special guests, we take you on an in-depth rewind through the solo career of multi-award-winning singer, songwriter and entertainer Robbie Williams.
Our guest today is Jenny Griffin, who was the assistant choreographer on Better Man. She's worked alongside her good friends, choreographer Ashley Wallen and director Michael Gracey since the early 2000s, when they were all a part of Will Young's music video. Since then, they've become the awesome threesome, creating some incredible projects together, including 2017's The Greatest Showman.
And not only that, but Jenny has toured the world with Robbie as one of his dancers since 2017.
And Jenny's also toured the world with my other favourite singer, Kylie Minogue.
Hi, Jenny. We're very honoured to have you on the show. Welcome.
What an introduction. Hi, thank you for asking me on. I'm really
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I asked if I could have the questions early because I just wanted to get the most amazing answers for some of the most incredible jobs that I've ever done in my life. And I just wanted to be very prepared.
Oh, I think that says something about you, and we'll find out more about that as we go through the interview. So let's start at the beginning. When did you start dancing and how did you get your big break? Tell us about that.
I started dancing when I was 3, typical sort of going to the local dance school, which was the Debut Academy in Coventry. I don't think it's going on any longer, but it's changed into the Lockett Academy. And I basically went there from when I was 3, and I was always just like the pushy child that after like 2 weeks, I was just over the hokey cokey, didn't want to do that anymore. I was like, is there anything else that I can do? So then I'd like stay for the later classes, which were the bigger kids. And pretty much all the way through, if I was 8, I'd be with the 14-year-olds. If I was 10, I'd be with the 18-year-olds. Yeah. And I was there Monday, Thursday, the whole day Saturday. And my mom, bless her, she was a single parent and she couldn't really afford the classes, and my dance teacher, they saw something in me and they were like, she can keep coming, don't worry, we'll pay. So my mom would run up 400 lyrical skirts for the whole school, or she'd like do the sequins of a whole leotard just in some sort of payment back for the time and care that they took to educate me in dance. And then when I got to like 15, 16, my friends were older than me and some of them had already moved down to London. So I had the accessibility of going down and staying down, and I just used to crash auditions basically. And I crashed an audition with my friend Jade, and it was for Kylie Minogue's Out of My Head video. And I actually didn't get it, and Jade got it, and I remember feeling like, oh my God, this is awful. Oh. I can't feel like this for my whole career. But I got a call later that night saying that one of the girls wouldn't be able to get there until lunchtime the next day, and could I go in for the choreographer, Michael Rooney, just to see everybody in a place so he could have the vision. And then by the time the girl came in, he was like, I'm not letting her go. So we're going to have to find some sort of budget and get her in. And I was like 16. And that was my first big break, if you would call it. And we didn't know that video would just become the most iconic video.
Yeah.
Ever.
Wow.
Yeah, ever.
And that was my first introduction into doing this amazing job.
Wow. And then you've worked with Kylie ever since.
Well, I've worked with Kylie ever since. We're doing a project with her now. So yeah, I've just pretty much kept it in the Robbie Kylie family. And funnily enough, I have a Jack Russell, and my Jack Russell's parents were called Robbie and Kylie.
Oh my God.
Foreshadowing at its finest.
Wow.
So it's been in the cards.
It's so freaky. So aside from Robbie and Kylie, who else have you worked with?
I've pretty much worked with everyone. I worked with like Whitney Houston, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, Pharrell, Snoop Dogg. Yeah, pretty much every sort of big artist, because usually when they come over from America, they don't bring their whole dance team. Oh. And I've been lucky enough to always be part of that sort of new team that they bring in when they're over here. So I've worked with absolutely everyone, more than my wildest dreams could ever imagine. So I also got put in the face by Seal.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we were doing the variety show, and we were all lining up at the end. It was a job that Ashley Wallen had choreographed, and we were all stood, and when you do the bows for the Queen, and then Seal went like that to my dancers. Well, that's at the perfect height for my face, and I just oh my God, I've just been slapped in the face by Seal. And bless him, though, he did stand at the side of the stage, and he was like, "Who did I hit? I hit someone. I'm so sorry." All the dancers were like, "Not me, not me," and I was like, "It's me. It's okay." But I remember that was the first time on the Royal Variety, and I remember feeling like, "Oh man, everyone's going to see it," but no one's ever brought it up apart from now.
You styled it out well, obviously.
Oh, absolutely, just a little squint, but it was all good.
And how did you first meet Ashley Wallen and Michael Gracey? Why do you think you work together so well as well?
I first met Ashley. Ashley had moved over from, he's from Australia, but he was coming over to do Will Young with Michael, but he was moving over anyway just to further his career. And he started working with my other best friend, Jerry Reeve, on, I think it was Atomic Kitten or right. Blue, doing a tour. And Ash had the Will Young stuff coming up, and he was like, "Do you know any like dancers?" And my friend Jerry was like, "Oh my God, you're going to love my friend Jen. Let me get her in." So I did the first rehearsal, and within like 10 minutes, I mean, you can probably tell I'm not really like a shrinking violet. If I'm I think you can hear me before you see me. And I went over to Ash and I was like, "I really like you. We should go on holiday." And sure enough, we did that job, and within like the first 2 weeks, we went to Tenerife.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And since then, we've literally, I assist him, I associate his jobs that he's on, and I always just want to be in the creative mix. And obviously when we were doing Will Young, I then met Michael, who I'm very honoured to say that he calls me his muse, and that to me is one of life's like just joys that I relate. And we have just worked on everything together. There's never time limits when it comes to Ash and MG. If MG says we're going to meet at 12 tonight and we're going to run down the hallway of a hotel, and you're like, "I will see you there at midnight." Whatever he wants and whatever time he wants, we're always there. So, and it's great. We just hash everything out. And again, I don't hold back in what I like. I'm like, "No, we should do this." They always go, "All right, let's give the little bonkers girl a bit of a go there." And, it's just nice that we all get to be so creative together and do some amazing projects.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's talk about your time dancing with Rob before we get on to Better Man. I think you joined Robbie's band as a dancer for his Heavy Entertainment Show tour in 2017.
We actually started just before then, because we got Ashley got the Party Like a Russian.
Oh, the video. Yes.
Yeah. And we went to do the video, and I mean, I don't know if it's narcissism, but in my head, I always just think I'm the most famous person I know. Go in the room acting like that. So when I go in the room, there's people that are very, very famous there. I just want to be like, "Yeah, we're on a level." We're not. But I'm like, let me just like chat to you like a normal human being. I don't just want to join in with everyone else and just go like this and not really give any good feedback. So Rob stood next to me, and in my head, the fangirl was going, "Oh my God, it's Robbie Williams." But what actually came out was I stood there and I went, "Hiya." And I went, "You're looking really great, mate." And he went, "Thanks." And I remember me thinking, why am I just chatting to Robbie Williams? Like, I've known him for ages. But I just think when it comes to working with people like that, I just think it's really nice to have honest conversations. And when we first did that video, I was just chatting to him. I think I chatted to him about my teeth at one point. And I was just like, this is just weird. It's Robbie, but he's so personable, and he is just your mate. Yeah. Like, he'll always take his time to come over and be like, "So what's going on with you? Are you good?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then you just get in this big conversation, and then every so often you're like, but yeah, we did that video together, and we just had a lovely time. And then they offered Ashley the tour, and I was so lucky to be asked to join the tour, and it was the most amazing experience. Rob's team are second to none. Like, you will not find another team like that out there. They are, you honestly, like I said, like, you feel like the pop star. Aww. They feel like the pop star. There's care 24/7 from how you travel to where you stay. And when we were doing the tour, it was stadiums, so you go to these places and you'd be in Guadalajara for a week, but you might only do one show. So then you'd get like a little message on the group message, and it'll be like, "Do you want to go wild horseback riding?" You're like, "I absolutely do, yeah." And like, just little things like, we were in Australia, so they set up the family barbecue at Rob's hotel, and we had like games in like the forecourt, and we did this other game where everyone joined in, had lovely barbecue. Like, it's just such a family orientated group, and you truly feel like that. And it isn't like he's the star, bow down. It's very much like we're all the most famous people in the room, and it's really beautiful to feel a part of a lovely family team.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Wow.
Oh, honestly. And sometimes, like, you'll just be on a gig, and when I say to people, okay, sometimes when we just walk on stage, they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I've not done anything yet. I've not done anything. They're like, you guys are amazing. It's honestly, it's the dopamine boost that everyone should get. Who's hanging out with the team, because they're just all so lovely and just at the top of their game. It's such a pleasure.
And before we move on, that video, I mean, Party Like a Russian, incredible. Just an incredible piece. Just phenomenal. It just really is.
I don't know if you knew as well, but I was Theresa May.
Oh,
in the Can't Stop Christmas.
We didn't know that.
I'm Theresa May. It was so funny because they were like, we need a Theresa to go with Rob's Boris.
Yeah.
Think of who would do that. Jen would do it. I think they kind of think, which I sort of think, there's like a bit of Rob. There's definitely a bit of Rob about me. So I just get in there. And then when they were like, would you be Theresa May? You're going to be put in a larger suit, and we're going to make your face really wrinkly. And I was like, okay. I had just got Botox a couple of days before, so there wasn't much movement in the face. So they really had to like put all glue on my face and then like scrumple it up like this. And like, really bad time for some self-care. I should have waited. They did a really good job.
Yeah, they did.
Nice and wrinkled.
Yeah, you did a really good job.
If Theresa watches or listens to this, I'm sorry. You got that.
I love that. So Ashley was the choreographer for Rob's Heavy Entertainment show and 25 tours and the Vegas shows. Yes. Were you dance captain for all of those, and what does that entail? I'm the dance captain on all of them apart from Vegas. I didn't go to Vegas. I was doing the Kylie tour, which is also for Ashley anyway, because he choreographed
and Robbie. So yeah, I was with Kylie on that, and one of the dancers, Leanne May, she actually did the dance captain on Vegas.
Right.
When you're being dance captain, and what I like to do is it's just like you're the sounding board for everyone. Before it's stuff that we can't sort out ourselves, it's like, let's come to me, I'll try and sort it out. We can sort it out between us, and then just make sure everybody's happy and everyone feels good, because traveling isn't easy when you're away from home for so long. And I think everyone seems to think it's really easy for the person going away because you're doing these fabulous things and you're in hot countries and you're in beautiful hotels. Yes, but then also you're like, don't have my bed, or I don't have my person, and I don't have my, your little things, your things that make it home. I always like to make sure that the ladies are okay, and just take extra care with what we do outside of the show, because there's a lot of hours to fill outside of the show, and I'd hate anybody to feel lonely or like they can't feel happy about being here when they're so far away. So I just tend to make sure that we all have a lovely time, and then when we're on stage, I'll go up before them, I'll set out their spots on the stage, I'll give them a little hazard check and be like, it's a bit slippy up there, or we've got 10 more stairs than we usually have, or we don't have a little bit at the end of the walkway, and just make sure that everyone's okay. And then I'll speak to the band. So dance captain is just that little bit extra sort of big sister thought.
Right.
And I hope I do a good job. But the ladies, I always take my hat off to myself in the way of 6 females went on tour for a year and a half, and we never argued. And
yeah, that is something.
So that is an amazing feat. I think I had my hat off to all of us. I was like, we did really, really well. We were in each other's pockets 24/7. And even when you're like, I'm going to have a bit of time today, you'd be like, do you want to go and do yoga? Like you can't stay away from each other. When you're like, yeah, it's about time I have a bit of time by myself, you find yourself hanging out within 10 minutes. So I think we did a really great job. And obviously I love dance captain. It's an honor to take on that position.
Yeah. So what are your highlights of dancing with Rob? Are there any shows or routines that stand out?
It's let me entertain you. It's always let me entertain you. I get my Rob on, I put my Rob hat on, and I run out, and I must literally just swear for the first like 10 to 15 seconds when we go out, because we have to go out with some absolute gusto.
Yeah.
And that usually comes along with an F as I run out. And it's just like getting the crowd going, and when you see Rob, when you clock eyes with Rob before he goes on stage, completely different person. I've never seen it in anyone else. Like he is jacked up on just life before he goes on. You're like, okay, I've got to match that. We try our hardest, but he is the most beautiful bonkers that you will ever find. So it's always let me entertain you.
Right.
No matter what routine we do, it's always let me entertain you. And then like into Land of 1,000 Dances, I mean, that's just cardio at its finest.
That's a lot of energy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we feel it, by the way. We feel it when you guys come out. And what I've noticed as well is you and the girls often make eye contact. And I think I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure that all dancers do that, and there's something really nice when you connect with the crowd, because I think that's important at a Rob gig. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we feel it. I'm just saying. We
try and embody Rob. Like we can't just go on there and be dancing robots. Like if Rob wants to play, you stop choreography and you play. Like, and I think that all the girls are like really good at that. I live for the minute that he turns around and just wants to do something completely off the bat, because let's go. I love this. Like, I think he just likes to make every show just feel so original and not like it's the same thing every night. Like he'll always do, when we do The Flood, all of a sudden out of nowhere, he started joining in the choreography. And then I think it was like, when he did it, I couldn't stop laughing. And then I choked on my own laughing. And then I had to try and continue dancing. But then he's just hopping around the stage. Like, it's so fun to be with Rob because, like I said, you can't just go on and just be a dancer. You have to play. And if he's looking in the eye, you've got to go out there. Like, they very much so implant that you are a superstar. You have to be basically your solo star.
Right.
And that's something that they really promote. They're like, we don't want people just being part. They're like, we want superstars. And that, again, is a very rare, is a big rarity for pop stars because it's usually, you know, you're the dancers, we're the pop stars.
Yeah.
Before it. Go on, girls.
Yeah, so, that's what we love about Rob. Yeah.
Oh, he's just like, it's about the show and I want it as big as possible.
Yeah.
And like he says at the end of the film, I'm the best at it.
Yes, he is.
It's impossible not to say an F when you're talking about Rob, though.
Yeah.
Got to.
And you're allowed to, by the way. We're allowed to swear on this podcast.
I know. I'll listen back and I'll be like, oh my God. You didn't lose the Coventry. That's definitely.
So does Rob have any involvement in the choreo or the choice of dancers? When
it comes to Rob, he really trusts Ashley and his judgment. And obviously Carl Brazil, his right-hand man, and the MD, like he's very involved in everything as well. But when it comes to our sort of side of it, like they are the best at theirs, like they're the best at their part of the job. They know that Ashley is the best at his, and they're like, we trust you. Every team that you put together is perfect, so just keep doing what you're doing. And the same for choreography as well. I think Rob just looks at it and is like, brilliant, just keep doing it. And so he never really has involvement in like, oh, I think, you know, we should do this or do that. It's just like, what have you got for me? And then when we show, like, brill, let's go. So again, we just get complete freedom. Mm-hmm. And then Danny stage. Like, what?
That was a good moment.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. The summertime gig was, I'll never forget it. It was just brilliant.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I wonder if you saw Seal backstage.
If I did, I'd be ducking.
He gave it someone. He came out. My goodness. He really belted it out, didn't he? He was good, yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't see him.
So you appeared with Rob at the Russian World Cup opening ceremony in 2018.
Yes.
How was that?
Well, I looked after that. Ashley was on another project, so I went over there and was basically looking after the whole thing. And we had, like, I think it was an extra 200 or something Russian dancers.
Wow.
And I've been fortunate enough to work in Russia. I was there for a year doing 2 TV shows a while back. So I get the vibe of the conversations that are happening. So I could communicate quite well with them, and everyone was really lovely. And but Rob, obviously, he's like, I won't know when to go on. You're going to have to push me. And I was like, okay. So there's me at the side like this. And then obviously I'm not indestructible at all. Human error. So in my head, I'm ready like this to push Rob on. And then something in my head goes, you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, no.
Not now. Again, something in my head's like, it's now. And I'm like, it's not now. It's now. Go on. I'm like, it's not now. And then he turns around to me. He's like, it's now. And I'm like, it's now. And then he goes on. But it was really lovely. In the rehearsal for that as well, when we were on the pitch, I was trying to converse with the Russian lady. She, one of the Russian ladies, she wasn't really having it. And I was like, no, we're doing it like this. And I remember walking to the pitch with Rob, and he was like, did really well there. I was like, great. And I was just like, keep my cool. But it was just the most memorable performance. 4 billion people, I think, watched, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've been on like a stage pitch, and I was ready to go, and I was just like, my legs won't move.
Oh.
And there was something in me that was like, no, I'm stuck to the floor and I can't move. It was the most nerve-wracking moment of my life. And then afterwards, everyone took it upon themselves to tell the people in the bar that it was my birthday.
But
I'm born in December. And it was very, very much so not December. And the dancers thought it'd be hilarious just to let them keep bringing over, I think, like gin shots. And there is a video of Neil from security piggybacking me into the lift, and you can just hear me going, Neil, like this. And then my friend was like, I have genuinely never seen somebody's eyes so dry the next day. Like, I have never felt that bad in my life. But if I'm going to take a killer hangover, I'll take it for Rob any day, because it was honestly the best gig.
Wow.
It was mega. And then we got to be in the box with like Ida and the family and all their friends to watch the match.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so good.
So you've done a lot of TV specials, like his Christmas special. What do you get a buzz from more? TV stuff or live shows?
Live shows. I've done a lot in my career. I did a lot of like X Factors and stuff like that, and they were great. But I absolutely adore live shows. I love it. Like, we are dancers and performers in general. We are such lucky people. I don't know why I'm saying it out loud. Don't want to give it away, but we are so lucky. Like, we get to get the highest buzz, natural buzz. Literally nearly every day we do a show. Like, it's wild. And when you feel the crowd, and then when you can see people, and then when you can see people crying, there's a group of people that I know always come to every single gig. Like, when you see all these little elements, you're just like mind blown that I get to do it all the time. So it's definitely live for me, or film. I love film.
Yeah.
I love working with people so close. And I'm a bit of a mimicker. I love to mimic people's like accents or how they sing or their mannerisms. So again, when you do films and I'm teaching people how to be somebody else, it gets right in me bones. I love it. I love doing it. It really does give me a little boost.
So moving on to Greatest Showman, and talking about that first before we get on to Better Man, that was the first feature film that you worked on.
Yes.
Was it nerve-wracking, or did you feel confident working alongside Michael and Ashley and with Hugh Jackman as lead, that it would be a success?
I would trust Michael and Ash with my life. We have done so many projects together, and when we start projects with Michael, trust me, it's from the very, very first day that the project gets spoken about, because he's like, I want a screen test now. I want to see some sort of dance. So we're like, okay, we'll do that. So 7 years we were pretty much sending him videos backwards and forwards. And then literally within like 2 months, it was like, you go into America and we're going to start. And I was like, whoa, okay. And then it was just, we're in New York and we're starting to film. It was just wild. We didn't think it was ever going to happen. And then when it did, it was so wonderful. Again, we'd work 6 days a week, and then on the 7th day, we'd go to Michael's house to then talk about what we're going to do the next week.
Right.
And it was just never ending. It's gorgeous. I love doing it. I love just going so hard on a project. So you kind of don't want days off. You just want to be like, and again, let's go. And then Hugh is exactly the same. He is the hardest worker you'll ever meet. There is no one like Hugh Jackman, hands down. Like, he is Wolverine. Just as a person, like, let's go again. I do more. That was good enough. I'll do another one. And I got to I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I got to dance the roof scene. So Hugh was my partner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that is just, that made my mum wasn't a crier at all. But when we were watching it in the cinema, when it came out on the first day, she cried. And I remember being like, oh, what's going on? What's this? And she was just so proud.
Yeah.
And it was just, and I remember like just dancing with Hugh, and obviously I had to be mic'd up because you had to see me sing to him. And I'm like, this is going to sound awful because obviously I'm doing all the lifts. So if anyone ever has that audio, it's not going to be great. Because I don't like that at all.
And did you have a feeling for how epic it was going to turn out? I mean, obviously you've worked with Michael for a while, so you kind of know his creative genius, but did you ever feel from the early days?
Yes. When we're filming it, it's hard not to think it's going to be amazing because of how good the sets were. The sets were incredible. And obviously the acting was impeccable. We loved our dance sequences. We were so chuffed with them. Like everything was lined up to be what we thought was going to be amazing. And then when it first came out, I remember it was a slow burner, and we were like, oh, look, what if no one goes to see it? And then obviously people went to see it, and then they'd tell their people and their people, and it just became something so huge. I don't think any of us realised how big it was going to be. It's a runaway train. When, so in that sense, no, I had no idea it was going to be how big it was. Like, it was otherworldly good.
Yeah. I have to admit, often I stick the soundtrack to Greatest Showman on when I'm in the car or doing something, because it gives me so much energy just to listen to it. I love it.
When me and are in the car going to just, any gig, we were like, oh, let's put it on.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
We don't. I'm not even sad about saying it.
I get it.
I worked in a school when it came out, and I worked with like 6 and 7-year-olds, and they were in the playground singing it, making up routines. Just, they were in love with that film and the music. Yeah.
It is, honestly, it's gorgeous to see it. You're like, just the love that everyone has for it. We also worked on another film not long after that called Jingle Jangle, that's on Netflix, and it was a Christmas movie, and honestly it has the same feeling of just complete joy. We listen to that soundtrack constantly.
So did working on The Greatest Showman change your career?
Yeah, it would be hard not to, and it just went so out of the planet well. Ash got a lot of interest from that movie because his work was just so beautifully shot and so beautifully performed, and it really did. Other people were wanting Ash to do films. I'm lucky enough for him to ask me to join him, so I always love being on those projects. So it really did. It really flipped it around, and obviously it was the first film that we'd done, and it was the kind of, we were like, we eat this up, like we're like, we want to do this for the rest of our lives. Like, how long can we do movies for? Like, we always say I want to do at least one movie a year, if not 2, maybe 3, but I want like it's like it's a kick like no other.
Yeah. Was it important to Michael and Rob that you and Ashley were going to be involved in Better Man right from the beginning?
Oh, I think when it comes to MG, you will never have him not say Ashley's name instantly when a project is spoken about, because with Michael, the beauty of what he does is dance.
Right.
He's so passionate about film and dance that Ashley's name is literally the first thing that comes out of his mouth, and they work so beautifully together. And now he operates Steady.
Yeah.
So he's now on Steadicam. So before we'd do our sequences, and then obviously a Steadicam man will come in and Ash will be like, so I'm thinking if you go through here and then do this. So it was like you're just taking out the middleman.
Yeah.
And it just goes so much quicker. We've had amazing cameramen, don't get us wrong, like they're incredible. But just for Ashley to be like, get the camera on, know exactly where he's going, no prep time needed at all, because he's like, I designed the shot because I rehearsed it with the dancers exactly like this, so I know where I'm going.
Wow.
So
he knows every single angle, every single move.
He's so talented. You know, can't do that. I was like, no, he's outrageously talented. I get very emotional when I talk about Ash because he is.
Wow.
But he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lovely creative partnership you've got.
Oh, he captures dance and emotion in the dance like no one else I've ever met in my life. Like you're in it as an audience. When you're watching them dance, you feel like you're dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like when I'm watching it, I'm just like, yeah. And I feel like I've done, it's such a talent. It's
100%.
And then that goes the same for MG. So that's why they work so well together. It's just like beautiful marriage of talent. And then they let me come along. So.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
I get the feeling there's quite a drive for perfectionism, an absolute, standard, gold standard. Is
1,000%. Like, I am so overly competitive with myself, probably to my detriment, but I'm just that sort of, when it comes to work, I don't think, and with Ash and MG, I don't think we're so passionate about it.
Yeah.
There's no way that it could ever be 95%. It has to be 100 or nothing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then I think if I can give 100%, I'll never have any regrets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go in half-mast and then go, oh, I should have done that. Balls to the wall, everything. Just go for it. And then I think that's what we do, and hopefully it comes across.
Yeah,
it does.
Oh, absolutely does. And you talked about knowing and bringing emotion through. I mean, you must instinctively know Rob's dance moves and the way that he moves across the stage and his stagecraft fairly well. I know he's pretty spontaneous, but obviously you must know it pretty well, I would say.
Yeah.
How did that help with teaching Jono?
My God. As soon as Jono actually walked in the door, because he came on really late.
Yeah.
And as soon as he walked in, and there'd been another actor before, and I just was like, okay, this is good. But then when Jono came in, the minute he came, just even from the, I am Jono, I was like, oh my God, you're wrong. Like his thumbs, how he is as a person anyway. He is the most famous person in his head. He has to be. Like, he just walks in like that. So he already had it down.
Right.
He already knew what to do. But then, just watching stuff, he was perfect. He just embodied it. And then Ash was fantastic. I worked a lot with the boys.
Okay.
The other Take That boys. And then Ash very much so got the moves at Nebworth. Like, he got John a hat for that. Like, it was, if you didn't know, you'd think it was Rob. Like, Rob thought it was.
He did.
Rob thought it was.
He did. Rob thought it was Rob.
I know. But sometimes Rob will shock you, though, because he's like, got a bit of a bad back today. And you're like, are you okay? Will you be all right? Yeah, I think I'll be all right. And then he's up there and he's going for it, and he's doing Holston, and you're like, oh, God, back today, yeah? And then he's just, as soon as that adrenaline hits, he is away. He can't stop. But Jono already had it.
Right.
He'll probably say that, we did loads, but he already had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the Take That actors then? Were you involved in their audition process?
I was involved in Jake's. Jake was already on board,
right.
but it was in England. So we moved over to Australia just before Christmas. And we were meant to start in January, and then lockdown hit again in Melbourne. So I stayed here. Ash had another project, another film in England. He was like, you stay here. So I stayed here. We did a couple of bits where they started opening up a bit where you could have an audition. So I was sent to Sydney to do some auditions, and I was sent to a place in Melbourne to do some auditions. And I auditioned all three of them. I think I did. I definitely did Chase, definitely did Jessie. Yeah, I auditioned them all. And it was pretty instant. When they came in, you were like, yeah, he could play it. He could be Mark. And then as soon as with Chase and Liam, you were like, oh, let's just see a bit more. And then you'd see a bit more and you're like, right, it's done. Yeah, he's definitely him. He's definitely him.
Yeah.
That's Howard. That's Jason. We're done. But we worked, because obviously when Ash was in England as well and we could get going, I did a big session with the boys where I was like, right, let's do one-on-ones. Let's really look. And the boys were all so forthcoming with like, I found this online. I seen this performance. I don't know if you'd have watched it, Jen, but it was from 1994. And I'm like, okay. And then we like wrote everything down. And I was like, with Mark, I was just like, he is like Zebedee back in the day. He's Tigger. Like he's got springs in his feet. Just flip that hair around as much as you can. So like just little mannerisms like this. The one for me was when Jake was already working with us by this point and had come in. His Gary was some of the biggest joys I've had developing characters. Like the minute he got his little bot, I was like, oh my God, got it. You're in.
Yeah, 100%. He was amazing.
Sometimes I'd wake up in the morning and I've got a message off like Chase or someone and they'd be like, hey Jen, hey look, I know it's late, 3 a.m. I know it's late. I found this. I was thinking about it last night. So they were all so like ready to embody these people that yes, we all did a lot of work, but they'd already brought the work to the table. They were like, can we look at this one again? What about this one? Am I doing this one? Like they were just so in with making it as authentic as they possibly could. It was so easy to work with them all.
Oh.
Wow. And that really came across. I mean, when we spoke to them, they were so lovely. It was the most joyous interview with them. Yeah. And they had a laugh talking to each other as well. And they talked to us about their WhatsApp group, which you've probably seen, where they said, our WhatsApp group's got so many videos on it, like all of Take That's videos in it.
Yeah. And they are the best of friends. Like they message each time, they speak to each other all the time still, even though they're in completely different countries. Like they are so close. I'm actually working with Chase at the minute, and they're so close. It's really beautiful. They really bonded when they were here, and it's just continued. It's got even better.
Oh,
I think that's a special thing. It doesn't always happen. Well, I'm not in film, so I don't know. But I asked them, do you think that always happens? And they said, no, I don't think it does always. It's not a given that just because you work with someone, you form a friendship.
I actually have one of Chase's chins.
Love it.
So that's how close we are. Yeah, he kept one of his chins and he put it in a bag and was like, there you go. I was like, thank you. But yeah, it's at home. There's a flappy bit of silicone in a sandwich bag. It's got Chase. But they were such a highlight. When we got asked to send in videos for when the movie was coming out, and they're like, have you got any BTS videos? Jake messaged me and he was like, I can't send any of our videos in. And I was like, why? He goes, it's just me and you doing David Brent for like 8 months. So like that's the one where they're on the pogo sticks. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
just Brenting to camera because Jake's behind me going, "That's it, Chasey. Really good, Chase." And we just looked so sarcastic. He's like, "I can't get in because we're literally just David Brent to camera." Which he made me. And then obviously talk about the pogos as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, moving on to the Regent Street scene. That's, that's like one of the best in the whole movie. How on earth did you teach it to 500 dancers?
With great difficulty. Yeah. Ashley had done a tutorial video because a lot of them was from the amazing musical theatre colleges that we have in London and around the country. We did auditions with them, and we had professional dancers as well, a lot of professional dancers. But they all came down, and Ash had sent them the video on the tutorial link. They'd all learnt it, but then obviously we're in the centre of town. We haven't got much space, so we'd like split them up into 4 groups, and then I'd run in to one of the buildings, and then I'd be like, "Right, let's go over it." And they were all amazing. There was very little that we have to rehearse by the time they got there. They'd already learnt it. Everyone was buzzing to get going. So there was a lot of shouting from me. There was a point where I was on Lucas, who was the other assistant on the night shoots. I was on his shoulders shouting at 500 dancers because we had to get the sound bites in before it was too late, because obviously it's a street, it has hotels on. If we're too loud and we got too many complaints, then we weren't allowed to continue.
Right.
It would be like if it's too much, then we'd probably get shut down. So the music wasn't even loud. They just had a few speakers along the street that was at a certain level. Okay. But before I had to get the dancers to do all the vocals before we weren't allowed to make noise. So I'm on shoulders. I've got the headphones on. They can't hear anything, and I have to just go. If for anyone that's listening on audio, I just have to rock. I had to go, "I don't want to rock," and then the dancers would go, "Rock, DJ," and then they'd just shout it out. But I'd have to keep it on time, so it was in the same BPM as what I was hearing. So it was difficult, but we got it done. And then we'd be like, "Now all of you go up there and run." Having 500 dancers just run manically at you is never comfortable. Never comfortable. So you just see them all coming at you. But it was just, it was hard, but it was so much fun. So much fun. And if any of the dancers that were part of it are going to be listening or watching this, they literally made the whole movie. They were outside in awfully cold weather, in costumes that did not help. They were in t-shirts or shorts or blouses, silk blouses at 2 a.m. when it's like -1, and not one person complained. They just all stood there and they were ready to go again whenever we could. They were just incredible. And that's also like part of MG's talent and heart. You can see how much he puts into it, and it's infectious. You can't not give back just as much as he puts in. So every single one of us that was stood on the street for 4 days in the middle of the night were just there wanting to make this scene pop out of this man's head, how he'd imagined it. So I hope everyone knows how amazing they were for that shoot, because it really does pop off the screen.
It does, yeah.
Incredible. And Jake mentioned that it was a blessing in disguise that it got delayed, obviously due to the Queen dying. You had to go a second time. He said he felt much more ready for it that time, and apparently you also adjusted a few bits as well. Is that right?
What Jake actually means is he put to his pogo stick.
Oh, so he went home and practiced pogo stick. That's what he's really saying.
No. I think what he meant was, we got a few more months to go on the pogo stick. But no, it was obviously Jake will say he's not. The other 4 are dancers. Jake wasn't a dancer, and this wasn't really Gary. Like when he got to Rock DJ, it was him dancing just as much as the dancers were.
Yeah.
So I think for Jake, that was very much the shoot that he just thought, oh God, this is where I'm going to get found out. I've got to really get into this. And he worked so hard. I've never seen someone get so frustrated with themselves. And I'm like, you're doing amazing. He's like, I didn't do that step. I missed the right foot. And I'm like, you're doing incredible. Just keep going. So I think just for Jake's head, he didn't need any more time. But for Jake's head, I think he felt that the time was like, yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I'm locked in.
And then you filmed it over 4 nights, with each night being one take. And then the 4 takes were transitioned into one take, essentially. And you had a time limit where you had to be off the street every morning, didn't you? Was it ever close?
1000%. I think it was like minutes to go on quite a few occasions. Because MG will shoot and shoot and shoot until it's perfect. And more or less, the most perfect shoot is always the one before the last. It's always the one before the last. You're like, we've got it, one more. So we'd go right till the end. And I mean, it was a huge feat. Like, it's down the whole of the street. There's so many different parts of the song and different scenarios happening, and like little bits. I don't know if you see the guy get hit in the face by the football and then he pulls the guy's pants down, like little things. There's gags everywhere. So you have to get all those in.
Yeah.
It was really to the wire. And then obviously you don't want to keep working everyone. You've got to give people breaks, and you've then got to then reset 500 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult, but we got it done. I think really well as well.
Oh yeah, you did.
Oh,
it was incredible.
Fantastic.
It's like the best scene in the movie. It's just, you just have to keep going back to watch that.
Fantastic. I mean, I don't know whether we've mentioned this on the podcast before, but Lucy and I did have a little wander along Regent Street before it was shut down. But obviously it was being set up in the day. So there was lights and fake shop fronts and fake hot dog stands. And I mean, we were walking along. It was just like, what?
Sorry?
Did you know then that it was for Robbie's film?
Yeah,
we knew.
We knew.
Oh, right. I was like, oh, that's great.
But then obviously it was all closed off with, high
they sent us off
gates and fences, and you couldn't really see anything. So we just wanted to have a little look. But we saw the bus and stuff,
Well, we went there. Well, we went there quite a few times just to do. You've probably seen like backstage stuff where we're just walking down the street with the boys, and we just are out. So we were there quite a bit, and then there was where our track was. There was Michael had like certain shops that he wanted certain bits in, and then it'd be like, well, there's a lamppost there, or there's a road sign, so they had to like move those as well, and it's like so intricate of where we put it and how it should be and how it should look. On Regent Street, it's like one of the biggest streets ever.
Yeah.
Like even to close it down. It's outrageous.
Amazing.
And they were wearing Heelys for the gumball segment. Yeah. How did that work? Because surely they weren't wearing the Heelys for that whole first take.
No. So when the boys, I'm probably giving away things. But when
if you're not allowed, don't say.
No, I actually don't know. And then, but it's not like, so when the boys come out of the wardrobe, like the rack.
Yeah.
Because we just needed the gumballs for that bit. That was like, like it was done in certain sections. The gumball was a section by itself.
Yeah.
So the dancers didn't have to be in Heelys for all of it. Okay. It was like that section. Right. I think that's okay. But yeah, it was wet as well on the floor. So you just have these dancers slamming themselves on concrete, and you're like, thank you.
Oh no.
I hope you're okay.
Oh, dear.
And in rehearsals, they had all the Heelys, and
right.
I'm not very good on Heelys myself, but they all did amazing.
Yeah.
Not a broken bone in sight on that section either. Wow. So that was a big bonus.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just challenges galore in this scene. I mean, what about the mobility scooters? We heard that they had a bit of a mind of their own, and you had 2 scooter engineers on set.
We had quite a few scooter sessions before that as well. And then it would be like, we've got new scooters in, they've got new motors. And we were like, okay. Even like my very non-dancer, non-performer boyfriend was pulled in because they were like, well, we've got the scooters, we've not got enough people. Well, we'll get on one. So then he comes in on his day off and he's on this scooter, and then he's got a dancer thrusting in his face, and he's like, oh, it's not what you do on your Saturday. But we had a lot of scooter incidences where it was like, you know, this one's just decided that it just doesn't want to play ball, and you'd be on it and then it just wouldn't move. And they had no information as to why they wouldn't move. And then they'd just come alive again, and you were like, oh my God, okay, now we're okay. And then that was a big thing, because we thought, when we get there, this is what's going to take up all of our time, and then we're screwed for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
It seemed to go really well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the odds were over in our favour with the scooters.
Oh, it was such a good moment. It was so laugh out loud.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it was an aerial shot down, wasn't it?
It's so funny.
Oh, it's brilliant.
The dancers that were the old ladies, very similar to Theresa May. None of them were old.
Right.
None of them had wrinkles or anything like that. So there was a lot of the squishy face glue thing. And it was so funny to see them like that, because they were all like in their 20s and 30s, and now all of a sudden 70, 80-year-old women being thrust at.
Well done. It was an iconic place to film and an epic sequence. I mean, still today, we've seen the film. You've seen it slightly more than me.
6 times now.
I've seen it 5 times. Every time we see that scene, we see something new in it.
Yeah.
I mean, just Liam telling us about the mop head, you know, on the street. I mean, just little tiny things.
And you wouldn't even notice that. It was so minor that you wouldn't even have seen that. That's
clever.
Yeah, amazing.
And then it just promotes the same joy every time I see it, because I've seen film, because MG just lets me and Ash, he brings us along for the whole journey. Like, he's amazing on projects. He's like, I've got a bit of it, the film through, come and have a look. And it wouldn't be like Jono would still be Jono, and then the next a bit of Jono was done, and then, you know, we'd see the progression of the whole film. And every time I always say, you know, when something's good is when I get the choke. And I'm like, just trying to swallow it, because I'm getting really emotional. And I just get emotional every single time, get the goosies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just so good.
And moving on to another incredibly beautiful scene, She's the One. My goodness. That was quite breathtaking. We understand that you had a ballet dancer doing some of Jono's bits because you were worried about Jono dropping Rochelle and injuring her.
Well,
this is what we wrote down here. Did he perform some of it?
It wasn't even that we thought Jono would drop her. It's that when Jono landed and he started taking on the role, he had like 4 days to kind of learn the script. He was in every single scene.
Yeah.
Like, there was a day that we could actually get Jono for more than half an hour. And this scene was so epic from a dance view. Like, we needed him as much as we needed Rochelle. Like, we needed him for days and hours and weeks, and he just didn't have that time. God love him. He had 5 minutes a day, probably just to sleep, and that's it. Like, so we got our dance double in, Ned, and he came in and worked with Rochelle. It was mostly Ash working with Rochelle as well, which is what we do a lot of the time. If it's a female artist, Ash will be her partner. If it's a male lead like Hugh, I'll be his partner. And that's why we had the other person in. But I think Jono would have been fantastic if we had actually had time to work with him. He would have been perfectly fine. So don't let him tell you that he couldn't do it. Lie.
I just thought that scene was incredible, the way that they weaved the story in, and it's just like, wow, how much did they pack into that small few minutes of song? Incredible.
It's a circus up in here. It must. but he can just place it so perfectly. And when it comes to dancing with Michael, he just always goes, well, Jen will do it. Jen goes in. We'll just make Jen up. We'll face replace that. But Rochelle came in, and she came in with guns blazing. She is the prettiest, most loveliest beast you will ever meet. She was like, there is no way, with a beautiful smile, there is no way anybody is dancing this number but me. And I was like, and she surpassed anything that I could ever dream. She was wonderful. She was so wonderful. Every single day she'd be in the room with us, and she'd do lifts upon lifts upon lifts. And she'd come in, she'd be like, my side's really sore, like I'm really bruised. Should we do it a few more times? And we're like, we need you to get to the end of this and do it, Rochelle. She was like, that's okay, I'll be fine. Aww. But like, she was, I have no words. I message her often, because whenever somebody tries to say that it's me, I have to correct them. Because a lot of the dancers just think that, oh, well, Jen did that. Yeah. I was like, no, Jen didn't do that. I very much so didn't do that. I would have loved to have done that. But Rochelle had worked her butt off to be at the level that Michael didn't just go, Jen will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a massive thing for Michael, because he wants things exactly how he envisioned it. And she hit every note.
She was incredible. Yeah.
Incredible. She's just what me and Ash were just like, wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful moment for the film.
And she always goes, when I message her, she's like, thank you for saying that. And I'm like, how could I let anybody think that I did it?
Yeah.
Like, I just do it.
So how did the mocap suit and headcam affect Jono's range of movements?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Like, he would just have this cage constantly here. I don't know how and with such little prep as well, really. It was like, hey, here's your script. Hey, we're going to start shooting. Oh, by the way, you've got this huge cage on your head and you're going to be in a grey pyjama suit. Like, I wouldn't be able to act through that. I'd be trying to, like, get it gone. Yeah, it was very restricting for him, and he did an amazing job. But, I mean, it's probably similar to The Monkey when we watch it. It's like, given the first few minutes, after that, you forget it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for Jono, it's probably a case of he just got so used to it being there. But, yeah, he couldn't do much. There was a few points where you were like, to Weta, can we take this off for a minute? Is there any way that you can pop it in afterwards? And Weta, they are incredible. The guys, they're just wonderful. They were so accommodating. They helped us out so much when it comes to the dance. They weren't just, they weren't just a team that you never saw and they were just always in their office. They were with us every single day, sorting everything out, and they're just brilliant. So they made it as easy as it could possibly be, given that it was a huge cage in front of Jono's face.
Yeah.
And did any of the other incredible costumes affect the choreography at all?
Which ones? I think it was Rochelle's dress was all chainmail. So I don't know, but it was like cold and like metal. So I don't particularly too comfortable for her. But I think it was 90s gear. It was 90s clothing. So they were quite sense of it wasn't massive elaborate costumes.
Yeah, I spotted a shell suit, I think, at some point.
I mean,
there was one in one of the scenes, wasn't there?
I didn't want to shell suit. The best of it was that it will always make me giggle. Is obviously I'm from England and I know the towns and I know Stoke and I'm from Coventry and they're not the prettiest places. Sorry. They're here filming in the most beautiful part of the world, and these crew would come in every day, and there's like a street that's been set up just looking like the back end of Stoke.
Yeah.
And I thought, for them to walk in and see this street, they must be like, I am never going to England. This is what it looks like on the sunny side. Because that really made me giggle, because I was just like, wow, it doesn't really add up. Melbourne, Stoke.
So when looking at all the behind the scenes footage and photos, you and Ashley are often right there with Michael.
Yeah.
Does Michael like place a huge amount of emphasis on the choreography, or are you just his sounding board for everything?
I think with Michael's beauty, what he does with his team, he gets everybody that he knows he can work and gel with. Like, everyone's at the top of their game. So whenever he makes decisions, it's always a family affair.
Wow.
Like, he wants Patrick's there, Eric on camp, Ash, like Sophia is, like, we're all there. The writers, you know, Simon, they're all there. And whenever he has an idea and he wants something, we're all involved. He's so, like, it's never just I'm the director and it's me and I'm doing this. He's like, right, team, let's go. So we're always there. And when it comes to choreography, Michael knows that Ash will envision everything that he's thinking. So he's always like, Ash, what we doing?
Yeah.
What we doing with this one? So yeah, we're always there with him. We have our own little WhatsApp too with the amigos.
Right. And what was your favourite scene to film and your favourite to watch back?
My favourite is She's the One.
Right.
When the twinkle lights come down, when she's in that, when I first saw the twinkle lights, Goosey's choky throat, it was wonderful. That was my favourite scene, because we put so much work into it. And I mean, I love Rock DJ, but there's just something so intimate about She's the One that it's almost harder to get across that sort of emotion when it's so small.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big grand street with 500 people. It's hard not to feel the bombard of joy, because there's so many people there giving it to you. But when it's just two people going through their whole relationship and some of the most awful parts of it as well, and then cutting back to the boat where they've just met, has to be all gorgeous and fun again. Like, God, it gets you.
It does.
And it's just that one for me really stands out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were pretty choked up after that particular scene, seeing it, particularly the first time seeing it. My goodness. Yeah. It's just like it gets you so hard. Yeah.
Because you don't know what's happening.
No.
And then as you sort of start seeing that we're cutting to scenes, and then they're a little bit further on in their relationship, and then you're like, oh shit, this is the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the scene of her terminating the baby, and you're just like, oh, I can't take this anymore. This song has to end.
Yeah.
Because I can't take any more of this. Yeah. I'm so happy that they played it like that as well. I just think it just was so beautiful to intertwine it with dance.
The creativity was just off the scale. I mean, it's just immeasurable, because the music, the dance, the lighting, just the way that shot was lit, the whole thing was just so just enriching. It was just like, and quite devastating at the same time emotionally. I don't know how they did that to us, really. It was fantastic.
It's almost bad to like something so much, because it's so devastating to actually happen.
Yeah.
But if you actually took that one song, that could have been a movie in itself if they'd have actually out. So the fact that you got all of that information for one song, it's like mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is.
And what was the most challenging moment for you? Obviously, you're a very positive person, I can tell that, you know, but what was the biggest challenge that you faced in the filming of Better Man?
Well, mostly it was COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that started coming back again, and then we knew that if it got round the team, then we'd have to shut down. So that was a big task to make sure that we're all as healthy as we possibly could be, and not to come down with anything. But during shooting, it was I think because we're always there for the acting parts as well. We're all there. We don't just go, oh, well, it's not a dance thing today, so let's go to the beach. Like, we're all there. It just, I don't know. I think because we loved it so much, it never felt like it was challenging.
Right.
Or if it was challenging, we were like, I'm getting an extra buzz from this and I'm really liking it in a sadistic kind of way. You're like, it's going to be so hard today. Let's go. Yeah, so nothing really felt really, really hard that we couldn't get it done in an amazing.
Wow,
it just
that's
felt
great.
I don't know. That's probably just me. Ask anyone.
No, that's
pulling that hair out, but I was having the best time.
Bring it on by the sense of it.
Yeah.
So the question that we ask all our guests is, what's your favourite Robbie song?
Something Beautiful.
Ah.
I absolutely love it. When we were filming here, we had a Toyota Camry that me and Ash would drive, and then when Ash weren't here, I'd just be driving around with that song blasting, and I absolutely love it. I try and get it out there when we're doing like shows. I'm like, I love can we just do Something Beautiful? And he's like, oh yeah, I love that one. I'm like, can we put it in?
Oh, good for you.
Never got it on when I've been there, but yeah.
I think he's talking about putting it on the set list this tour.
It's been mentioned.
Yeah. It suddenly worked out that it's a good song.
The minute that I won't be joining on this one because I'm on a project that has crossed over.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't be on anybody's payroll. I'll just be turning up. Because I just love being around them. So if they allow me to still use my AAA pass, I'm going to be like, guys, I'm back. And they know, like, Carl was like, I know Jenny can't be working on this part of the tour, but whenever she can. So it's really nice. I'm still part of the family, but I will be annoyed if they do a dance to that and I'm not on it.
Oh. Well, maybe you can pop along for the odd date here and there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Without a doubt. But yeah, it's Something Beautiful. That's my favourite one.
Okay.
So, any dreams left to fulfil for you?
As a kid, I always dreamt I wanted to do the Royal Variety performance, and I wanted to work for a man called Paul Domain, who did all the pop stuff. He does all the pop stars, you know. He used to do Five and Steps,
right?
And I wanted to do, and I did the Royal Variety like 9 times, and I worked for Paul and I assisted him for the whole of my career as well. So as a kid, those are as big as my dreams got. So I'm now, every day is an absolute bonus. Like I don't have a dream. I just try and top the last day.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are my dreams. Like, I just want to be even better than I did the day before. And every project that comes in, I just want to make it better than the project before. I'm just really grateful that I still get to do this every day and call it a job. Because when I was little, I'd be like, well, I'm a dancer. By the time I'm 27, that's it. I'm retired. Won't tell you how old I am, but I am a lot older than 27. And I'm still just hoping that I can just keep going under the radar and being creative. And hopefully people respond to that and let me keep being involved in these incredible jobs. Because I absolutely live, sleep, breathe it. And I love it.
So what is next? I think, is it Kylie next for you? Any other films?
There's a Kylie project, yes, that I am working on through Ashley. And fingers crossed, in the pipeline, another big project coming up later this year that I can't talk about, but it's a bloody good one. Excellent. So and then obviously Ash gets to work on Rob's tour and everything that's going on with that. And just really, really sounds so cliche. We're very blessed.
Yeah.
They say. And we are. And we get to do it every day. And there's nothing that could beat it.
Well, you're definitely working with the best pop stars in the world. So life couldn't get better.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. No question.
Honestly, if anyone asks me about Rob, it's just like superstar, 5 stars. Would recommend. On a trip, 5 stars. It's just the best. I would recommend working with him. He is the best.
Yeah. Well, you've absolutely confirmed what we've heard from, others in your team as well, and the band and the crew. Everybody we interview, everybody we speak to, says the same. There's a lovely vibe. It's full of kindness and joy, and that's just an incredible place to be. Obviously, the film doesn't explore that. A lot of people don't know that, and I'd love for there to be a Better Man 2 where they show, like, the positives that came into his life eventually. But it does sound as though it's an absolutely amazing energy and vibe to work in.
Yeah, it's like you want to split him into billions of little Robs and just let everybody have a few hours with him. He is so personable. He asks questions about you and you're like, me? Why are you asking me? You're Robbie Williams. But he asks everything. How are you doing? How's your family? What you've been up to? How are you feeling? Is everything good? I does the same. And then obviously we've been lucky enough to pretty much be there for all of the children's lives as well. Like I've got wonderful pictures. Teddy is addicted to the dancers' changing room. When she comes in, she's like, hi girls, what are we doing? She's like, let's do another dance number. I've done makeup for her on Heavy Entertainment Show. I put gems on her eyes and she was really young then. There's a picture of me getting ready for the show. I'm in my dressing gown. Teddy sat on my lap. I'm trying to do my eye makeup and she's got her spaghetti that she didn't want to eat. So she's holding the phone watching something. I'm doing my eye makeup and I'm feeding her spaghetti with the other arm. And she's just, if you think Robbie is a superstar, we haven't seen anything yet. Because she's gonna take over the whole world.
Wow. I can't wait for that.
It's obviously
a superstar. Like I've known a child so young, be so confident, know so much about themselves, be so out there. She comes up on sound check and she sings her own song.
Oh.
It's in the genes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It really is. They're all wonderful. She's a girly girl and she just comes straight to us. And I've been to like Rob's house before in LA when we were sorting out the first tour, and he was like, do you want to come and say night to the kids? And I'm like, yeah. They're so lovely. They're such a wonderful family. So it's just an honour to be able to work with them and make the beautiful things that we make.
Yeah, you always add something to the shows. We love it.
Yeah, the show. I mean, they're just the best. I think this tour is going to top them all.
Hope so. We're very excited for it.
We are. And we're not just coming, we've got a lot of Robbie dates booked in, but we've also got a Kylie date booked in as well. So we are going to see Kylie. So we always see the Kylie tour at least once or twice.
Yeah.
I'll give us a message. I'm sure we can always help you out if there's anything you need.
Oh, thank you.
Having me on this.
Well, Jenny, thank you for sharing your story. It's been absolutely incredible. We wanted to speak to you for a long time, and what you've done is absolutely fascinating. Your journey and your creative partnership with Ash and with Michael is fantastic. You are. It sounds as though you're a powerhouse when you get together, and you have the passion and enjoy doing it, and that's just so lovely to hear. And I can understand why you work well in the Rob world as well. Definitely from what we've heard today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm a very lucky girl, and I count my blessings every day because I wouldn't ever have dreamed of doing any of this on such a big scale. So yeah, I'm very lucky, and thank you for having me on. And I hope I wasn't too much of an F and a Jeffer.
No, you didn't at all. I don't think.
No.
Thank you. I think I did one.
That's allowed. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jenny.
No worries.
Appreciate it. We'll let you get on with the rest of your work.
Enjoy your day. Yes, everyone go and see it.
Yes, definitely go and see Better Man before it goes out of the cinema. You have to see it on the big screen.
Yes.
I mean, it'll look great on TV, but you need to see it on the big screen.
Don't just wait for it to get on your home screen.
No.
Go get on the big one. It's full.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, thanks so much, Jenny. Cheers.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And you.
Bye.
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 Robbie Williams Rewind.